Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Crossing Swords, but this isn't just any episode of Crossing Swords. This is a bonus episode of Crossing Swords. We're going to be releasing this just before the English transfer window closes.
You're welcome, suckers.
So you're getting an extra episode out of us this week. But as always, I'm Andrew.
And I'm a fan of Premier League football.
And his name's Jay.
Who happens to be called Jay. Yeah, I do happen to be called Jay, there is that.
He does have a name, he doesn't go by fan of Premier League football.
No, only on official documents.
No, only on official documents. It's on his birth certificate.
It's on my birth certificate. They took a real gamble there.
Alright, well this week, as you might have guessed from our little preamble, we're going to be discussing the Premier League transfers made by teams.
If you couldn't get that from the introduction, quite frankly, I'm not sure this is the podcast for you.
Yeah, we're going to discuss how we think teams are going to fare, who will win the league, who will go down, what transfers we think are good, bad, and everything in between.
Yeah, basically. So, jump right in. I know you've made some predictions for placements in the league, so go ahead.
Yes, I haven't done
share with
one down to whatever the number
share
is.
with your big brain.
I've just done a general sort of prediction of the main positions in the league. I've put the winners as City because I feel like they've strengthened where they needed to strengthen, although I do still feel they need a centre-back, but I've put them to win the league with Liverpool shortly behind because I don't think they've done enough at all in the transfer market.
Do you think at the top, pretty much same as last season?
Yeah, pretty much, but I think it will be a bigger gap this time.
Okay.
The top six I've put as City, Liverpool. I've then got a bit of a wild card as third. I've put Man United. I've put Man United, but for me it depends on whether Paul Pogba finally realises his ability.
And now here's the thing, so before the podcast we do briefly discuss
what we're going to talk about.
Just to kind of give us a structure. We don't go into it because we like to save the content for
No,
you
we don't script it or anything, but
I did react to your thing of United depending on Pogba. For me, Pogba makes no difference because even if he turns up on the pitch and actually is the player we think he's going to be, he's not going to be in my guess, in my predictions. But even if he does, his attitude is still too much of a drawback off the pitch and he's still too much of a negative influence on the players in that dressing room, even if he's playing well. So for me, the best thing is for him to just be gone, to get rid of him.
I agree they should get rid of him, but in terms of whether he can be the difference or not, I do disagree because I still remember when United played against City. It wasn't last season, I think it was a season before, where he was the difference between United winning and losing that game. They went into half-time, I think 1-0 down.
No, and that's it. He was the difference between winning and losing that game, but had fuck all impact on the season.
No, but if he can recreate that, I disagree that he can't be an impact. But also, United are being heavily linked with Christian Eriksen from Spurs at the moment, and I think he'd be massive for them.
I think he's a top player. I'm a big fan.
I've then put Spurs at fourth, but that's if they keep Eriksen. I've then put Arsenal.
You've given yourself a lot of get-out clauses in this prediction, so come the end of the season, you're going to go, well, to be fair.
I've put Arsenal at fifth. I would have put them in the top four had they strengthened the area they needed to strengthen for 20 years.
We'll get to that, for sure.
And then I've then put at sixth, I've put Chelsea.
Yeah, I don't think that's a terrible shout, although Frank Lampard's debut season, can he control those egos?
Well, I think to be fair, quite a few of the egos have gone.
True.
And quite a few of the players are getting older, so it'd be exciting to see younger players like Mason Mount get into the team. Barkley's had a really good pre-season for once.
Don't get me started on Barkley.
No, but for once he's actually looks like he could perform this season.
Let's jump to the other end of the table.
Right, teams.
Hang on. Are all three of yours conditional again? Are they all? Well, it could be them, but it could not be them.
No, I've put teams to struggle, and then I've chosen two teams that I definitely think will get relegated.
Definitely.
And then three teams that I think will be in the running to be the third.
Shoot.
My struggling teams, I'll tell you what, I'll ignore those, I'll just put who I think will get relegated.
Yeah, who's going down?
Sheffield United.
Sheffield United, yeah.
Norwich.
Okay, yeah.
And then I've put last place for me could go between Villa, Palace or Brighton.
I would agree on all those fronts. I'm not sure. I think Villa might be right, but yeah, Brighton arguably their best player.
Had Fulham not done so atrociously last season, having spent the amount of money they spent, I might have been more confident for Villa this season.
Palace, bar a last minute signing of Cahill, their literally best and only signing of the season was Jordan Ayew, a player who's no stranger to them, who they've had for a year, knows that he can do fuck all for them.
I think, did he score 2 goals last season? 1. There you go. So yeah, those are my predictions. Everyone else in between, I don't really think matters, to be honest.
Wow, just fuck the others.
Yeah.
Sorry if you're a fan of the others, but not that sorry. Fuck you guys. You support nothing teams.
Right, so those are my rough predictions. And as a Palace fan, I'm not happy in putting Palace right at the bottom.
No, it's where they deserve to be.
They just haven't done enough so far this window to make me think that we've got any chance.
No. But I want to do a little rundown through the league.
Yeah, you want to go alphabetically team by team?
And I just want to ask you 2 questions.
Yes.
And I'll start off to kind of give you an example of how I want this to go, because you'll do it my way. Do you understand?
I can't promise anything.
No, you fucking rebel. So I'm going to say we start at Arsenal, and what I'll ask is the 2 questions: where should they finish? Where will they finish? So where should they finish? For me, a club that size, that's had the kind of history that it's had, recent history that it's had, they should be finishing top 4.
I agree.
And they consistently finish top 4. But where will they finish? I'm looking at that team, and I don't think they'll get. I think they'll be battling for that 6th place.
It will be the same as it has been for a number of years now. They will be top heavy, so when it comes to facing the little teams, they're going to spank a lot of them. You know, they've got huge firepower at the top, but they're also so weak at the back.
Aubameyang and Lacazette proved last season that they can do it on their own. And you introduce Pepe and you know, Ozil and Mkhitaryan, you know, also pushing in and kind of bringing
and they've got Ceballos who's coming.
Yeah, fine. But for the last, and I can't imagine how I'm frustrated, and I'm not an Arsenal fan. I can't imagine how frustrating it is for an Arsenal fan, where everyone, pundits, journalists, fans of other teams, fans in other countries, can all see Arsenal's problem at the back for the last 50 years at the back.
Yeah.
It's defensively, and for 15 years they've failed to consign.
I think Kieran Tierney, if they can get him, will be a good addition.
But all they've done is they've just brought in. Strike the light. We need more goals. No, you don't. That's not your problem. That hasn't been your problem.
Maybe their idea is a bit like Kevin Keegan. Look, we can't get good defenders.
We'll just outscore them.
So we'll just outscore them. If they score 5, we'll score 6.
They had a pre-season the other day where they brought Mustafi on, and within 2 minutes they conceded. That's just the level they're dealing with. But okay, so now you kind of get the gist of it. Next up, Aston Villa.
I mean, they've been by far the most active team.
Now, there's a couple for me. There's 3 signings that I'm looking at that I think are genuinely great signings. First of all, the one you've sort of like Tyrone Mings.
Yeah.
I think is a great sign. I think he's a great centre half.
I think he's good. Actually, great centre half is probably an overstretch. If you look at his aerial battles, one for someone who's 6'5".
Okay, cool. Yeah.
It's shocking, but he was incredible for them in the Championship last season.
Yeah, and I think Matt Targett, is a good acquisition from Southampton.
Again, I think they've overpaid for him.
Possibly, but in today's market, maybe not.
No.
But the one who they haven't overpaid for, and is one of my, and I know you'll mention yours when they get to them, but for me, one of the signings of the season is Tom Heaton.
Yes,
£8 million bargain for an England international who, let's not forget that, you know, it was like him, Nick Pope, and
apparently he's a huge personality and he's really good at bringing a team together, which I think they'll need with that many signings.
Yeah, and I think they've done. I'm just looking at the players that they've released as well, and I'm saying Mika Richards, Alan Hutton, Glenn Whelan all going is good.
Well, I believe Micah Richards was still on £80,000 a week in the Championship.
Yeah, I mean it's insane, isn't it?
Mm.
So where should they finish? Aston Villa, big club, newly promoted but big club. Where should they finish?
Mid-table.
I think they should finish mid-table, but where will they finish? And you think they'll be in a battle?
I think because of how Fulham did last season, although I do think overall they have a better core of the squad than Fulham did, I think they're going to be bottom half, comfortable bottom half.
But bottom half. No, I'm going to have to agree. I think they'll be in a battle. I think they shouldn't be. And perhaps if they have a season...
I just think bringing in that many players...
Well, if they have a season to bed them in, they might be alright. But I think this season, I think they're going to struggle.
Yeah. And they also, for me, have one of the most overpaid two actually I've put on my list.
Okay, sure.
Of overpaid transfers. One is actually he didn't make my list. It was only as you mentioned him that I remembered how much they paid for.
I mean, they paid like 11 million, 10 million.
17.
Is that with add-ons?
Probably. Wesley from Club Bruges. He's a striker. He's a bit like Benteke.
Yes, okay.
He's like 6 foot something. brick shithouse, inconsistent scorer. I think he got something like 13 goals in the Belgian league last season.
Which is more than the Palace team.
but he's costing I think about 25 million odd.
In today's market, you pay that for strikers.
Yeah, but for 25 million you'd expect more goals.
I don't think you would in today's
But
market. I'd like to think
he's one of my overpaid, and I also think Tyrone Mings was an overpaid transfer, considering that had they put a clause in his contract with an obligation to buy last season, they could have got him for 10 million cheaper than what they paid.
Yeah, quite. But Tyrone Mings brings us nicely, because I love a weak link. You all know I love a weak link on this podcast. Brings us nicely to the next one alphabetically. Bournemouth.
Yes.
Bournemouth, great dealings. They got 20 million for a player that they could have only got 10 million for. Great. And they've mostly bought. They haven't really bought that many players, and they've kind of bought young players from lower leagues and kind of almost like an investment in the future. They haven't sold that many players.
They sold, I think their most notable one is Billing from Huddersfield.
Yeah, and the players that they've gotten rid of and sold, they weren't really playing. Muset was a bit part player.
Yeah.
Mings.
But their biggest bit of business this summer has been getting Wilson to sign a new deal. He signed a new 5-year deal.
Absolutely. But it's okay, so Bournemouth, same questions. Where should they finish?
Mid-table.
Mid-table. Solid, upper end mid-table. For me, upper end mid-table. Possibly 9th or 10th.
And I think they'll finish around mid-table.
I think they're one of the teams that will finish where they should finish.
Well, the only reason I don't think they will is Brooks is injured for 3 months at the moment.
So he's
going to miss the start of the season.
But he's still only young, he's still...
Yeah, but he's one of their best players.
I
think Fraser wanted to leave this summer, so I think he'll be unsettled this season, so he might have a dip.
Don't know, I think they're going to finish where they should finish. I think they're mid-table and they'll finish...
I think they'll finish lower end of mid-table.
Next up, one that you've already touched upon, Brighton.
Yes.
So we know where they're going to finish. Struggling.
Yeah, I think they will struggle.
Where should they finish though? A club like Brighton, that size?
I think around that area they should be bottom half of the table.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You don't think they should be a mid-table?
I don't think they've done enough since coming up in terms of signings.
No, and I know this, and I don't mean this to say this as a Palace fan, slagging off, because I don't get all that rivalry. It's not for me. But I think their ground is not a Premier League ground. It's a really nice ground, but capacity-wise, they've limited themselves, so they haven't had the opportunity to expand.
But you could say the same about Bournemouth. Bournemouth have a 16,000 capacity stadium.
Oh, no, I do think the same about Bournemouth. But
I think because it was a brand new stadium, they didn't expect to go up, to be fair to them. When they hired Chris Hughton, they had a 5-year plan in mind to get up to the Premier League, and he did it in, I think, under 2. So.
No, and I think to Bournemouth, here's the thing, because Brighton's is all new and spangly, and that's Bournemouth, because it's a bit more old school. It actually works to their advantage, I think. In home games, it's sort of intimidating. It's almost like going to a lower league club. Almost. You've got the fans are right on top of you. There's not many of them, but they make a good noise. And it's not like going to one of these new games. So it's taking a lot of these Premier League stars out of their comfort zone. I
actually don't know how many the Amex holds, to be fair.
No, I'm not entirely sure. But when I look at it, it almost feels like considering Brighton are the only real football team in the area.
Yeah.
You feel like they should have more.
Okay.
I might be, maybe I'm well off.
Well, I don't know whether they're filling their stadium or not. I don't know what their average attendance is, to be fair.
No, but I think the biggest mistake was selling Knockhart.
Yeah, but they did well to hold on to Dunk, but that could change with Leicester having sold Maguire.
Yeah, anything could change during this time, but they've released a lot of players. Mostly young players though, so it's not...
But I believe they are on the verge of also signing from Middlesbrough, Webster.
Yeah, which again, I'm not sure he's the player
that's going to come in. 22 million.
He's not the player that's going to come in and change that squad for me.
No.
But next up, a club that I've grown to really quite fond of in the last few years. Burnley.
Yes.
They're still in the Bs.
See, I've put them as one of my worst teams in the window in terms of how they performed.
But could there not be an argument made that they actually have a really good squad and they don't need to do much?
No.
No, they're shit.
I don't think they're shit. I think they're lower end Premier League team who have a very good manager who knows how to get the best out of them. I think to call him old school to be unfair. I think he's a pragmatic manager. One I'd love at Palace as a Palace fan. I think he'd be brilliant. But I think he's got overall quite an average squad.
I think they do a hell of a lot with not a lot.
Yeah,
I agree.
they have limited resources, so I understand why they can't go out and spend 30 million on a signing. But for me, signing a 31-year-old Jay Rodriguez for over...
Well, that I found out because they've got Barnes and Woods.
Yeah.
And it's like, do they need another one?
And then they've signed Eric Peters, who wasn't good at Stoke when he was in his 20s.
No, that wasn't bad. Now you've
30s.
said it, you're quite right. They're the worst team. They're one of the worst teams in the transfer market.
I literally, when I sat there going through it this morning doing my prep, I was like, no, it's a shocking window for Burnley. Before...
And they've seen Heaton go up, which is a good thing in my opinion because he's too good not to be playing, and unfortunately he has fallen
But
behind.
then the only good bit of business they've done for me is signing, I believe his name's Peacock Farrell from Leeds. He's a brilliant young goalkeeper, and he'll be the backup to Pope this season, which I think is a good signing.
Yes, which is fine. But,
but other than that, I think they've had a poor window.
Let's go to an interesting one in the transfer window. Chelsea, who can't deal in the transfer window.
I think obviously they've only signed one player because there's a loophole in the transfer ban. No, what it is you can't register new players. So he was already registered at Chelsea from last season, so they were able to
get Kovacic.
Yeah, good player. I think it's a good signing.
I don't know. I think he's overrated.
I'm not saying he's.
I'll tell you my problem with Kovacic. I think he's a very Sarri player. And now that Sarri's not the manager, see, obviously the problem with Chelsea last season was they were very rigid. They had no plan B. It was Sarri's way or no way.
I think it will change this season, though.
Now it's going to have to change.
I think under a manager like Lampard, who I know we don't know much about him tactically, but from what I saw of Derby last season, he wants to be on the front foot, wants to attack. And this season, players like Kovacic are going to get game time.
Just quickly, just before we do delve into Chelsea, Burnley, in my opinion, lower mid table team, just above the relegation battle. They shouldn't be in the scrap, but they should be just above it.
I think they will be in the scrap.
And I think that's where they'll be. I think they're another one who'll finish where they should finish. They'll be just above it.
Yeah, they'll be comfortable in the end, but throughout the season they'll be there or thereabouts.
But anyway, Chelsea. So obviously a couple of big losses. Hazard out.
See, I'm not as enamoured with Hazard as everyone else is.
He made a big difference in that team.
He did. But if you look at consistency over his time at Chelsea, I don't see consistency. I see one good season, then a shit season, one good season, then a shit season. You know, when things were bad at Chelsea, he wasn't good. When things were good at Chelsea, he was good.
But what about, also, you look at Pulisic coming in?
Great signing.
I think it's a great
signing. I think they've overpaid, but for a player...
Was it 60 million, was it?
Yeah, top end of 60.
Yeah.
But from what I've seen of their pre-season, he's been doing really well. So I think in terms of losing a player like Hazard, I think they've done well in signing Pulisic.
And I think they did well to go to Morata.
Oh, 100%.
But okay, so here's the classic questions. Where should they finish? A club like
they should be challenging for the title.
They should be challenging for the title.
But
I agree. They've got the resources they should be.
But I've put them at 6th.
Yeah, do you know what? I'm going to go with you. Maybe not 6th or 5th. They might get top 4, but their top 4 will be dependent on someone else not performing.
Yeah, it would rely on, for me, particularly Spurs falling apart.
I think they are, despite they should be challenging for a title, but I think they are not one of the best 4 teams in the league.
No, they're not.
I think
they've still got too many older players that are on big wages that are in their 30s now. Pedro, quality player in his day, scored a beautiful goal the other week in pre-season.
Also, that's a great.
But he's 32 now.
Also,
Williams 31, 32.
I like Lampard, and I want him to succeed. I think we all want him to succeed.
Oh, 100%.
He didn't get promotion at Derby. I know he made the playoffs.
Yeah.
But arguably, Derby maybe could have gone up and should have gone up automatically.
Yeah, but to be fair, I wouldn't. The only reason I wouldn't hold that against Lampard is because the amount of times in recent years where they've been one of the best teams in the league and not got promoted. Whereas this season, for me, the only reason they were in the hunt was because of Lampard's connections with bigger clubs, and he was able to get in some brilliant young players.
Well, okay, but then let me just follow up on that. Just thinking out loud. If his connections sort of helped his Derby days and Derby's career, well, he hasn't got those connections at Chelsea because his connections are Chelsea.
Well, no, but one of his best players at Derby last season is a player he's got with him now at Chelsea, which is Mason Mount.
Quite, but that's a young player who did well in a Championship team. coming into a team that should be challenging for Europe in the.
I think he's got more than enough ability to do it.
Possibly, I think they need to get rid of, in my opinion, Barkley. I think for years and years. This is my problem with Barkley, and I'll say this now publicly, officially on the podcast. I've been saying this for years. His problem is he passes when he should shoot and he shoots when he should pass, and he's had years to fill in that potential.
Yeah.
And there comes a point in every player's career where it's like, you ain't going to reach it. You've passed the point of being able to hit that potential. You've now peaked.
I know. The only way I would have agreed with you up until what I've seen of him in pre-season for Chelsea this year, he's looked really, really good. But whether he carries that into the season, I don't know.
I'll be shocked if he does.
But I'm optimistic Barkley could have a good season.
Well, let's flip it then to someone or some people who are not going to have a good season. Palace.
Yeah,
arguably one of the worst in the transfer window.
They are the worst. I've put them at the top of my list of worst teams in the transfer window.
I don't say this as a pessimist. I say the good bit of business that they did was 50 million for Wan-Bissaka, because I know there's going to be people like, he had a great season and it was a consistent season.
Good season,
but he had 1 season and a half.
Yeah,
and he's very young.
Yeah.
50 million is
also,
great.
what I loved after he moved was
he wanted to go.
The United fans' reactions to him after literally just his first game in the United shirt pre-season. There was some ridiculous tackle he did where he was 10 yards behind someone, caught up, slid in, got the ball from behind, and you were just and they were like, oh my god, this guy can tackle. And the fans were like, yeah.
Yeah, it's only pre-season, so it doesn't really count, but he's won a lot of man and matches.
He was my signing of the window, but he's been knocked off by someone else. But I'll come back to that.
So Palace, and here's that. So let me just. I'm going to run through it quickly.
Yeah.
3 signings, and I'm just going to run through them one by one in order of when they were signed.
Yeah.
Stephen Henderson, free transfer, good. A goalkeeper. We've got 2 goalkeepers. We've got Guia, we've got Hennessy, and as far as I'm concerned, your third keeper should be a young keeper. Because what are the likelihood that both of those get injured? And if both of those get injured, no one's going to be expecting too much. Because
last season didn't we loan in some random Brazilian youngster as a goalkeeper? This is it,
but it's like you have... If both your first team get injured, no one's going to be like, oh, Palace was shit. It's going to be like, yeah, well, they have both their first team keepers fucking injured.
Yeah.
Both their keepers injured. So
personally
why we needed
me,
that, I don't know.
Sorry, I'll let you continue and then I'll give my opinion.
Second of all, are you? And Palace made a big deal out of this on Facebook and they made it look like a signing. It's not a signing. What you've done is you've spent money on someone we already had who's played for a year. So it's not like he's an unknown entity, and it's not even like we can say, oh yeah, but he might come into our squad and it will be different in the dynamics of our team. No, we know how he plays in our team and we know he offers fuck all. He's certainly not worth
I mean, I'll put my hands up. When we signed him on loan last season, was it in January?
You were quite happy, no, I think it was a little bit before January, but yeah, he came.
I thought he might be a decent signing, but I can admit he hasn't been.
Don't get me wrong, at Hertha Berlin, where Palace got smashed 4-0 by the way, I was there, he was one of the best Palace players on the pitch. But in a team that lost 4-0, not to
it's not saying
ram
much.
it home, no, it's not saying much.
And he is actually on my list of overpaid transfers this season.
Because he cost anything.
Because he cost 2.5 million. He's a player that I would have understood signing if he'd just been released by Swansea, but to have actually paid the money.
Yeah, and he's a wage.
Yeah.
That's my problem. But then, okay, 1 out of 3, because we get to Gary Cahill.
Yeah.
On a free, again, good.
Rock solid transfer, that one.
Even if he doesn't do anything I still think he's capable of doing a job on the pitch.
Oh, absolutely.
Even if he doesn't do anything on the pitch,
I think
he's still an experienced head in the dressing room.
I think our defence is ageing anyway, so I think he slots straight in.
But I think for me, Palace, where should they finish? Mid-table. Club like that, established Premier League club, a London club, not poor London club. Financially in the clear every season, by the way.
Well, actually, one thing I found out, which I was really surprised about, we're 19th in the world of football teams for turnover.
Yeah.
Which is incredible, and that's a testament to the way the club's being run.
So I think mid-table.
See, no, I still think they're roughly where how we've been doing the last few seasons. I think is roughly for the quality of the team and how the team's been performing. I'm
not talking about the team. I'm talking about the club. A club that size, where should they be finishing? It's like Chelsea. I look at
top of the bottom half. I can't quite bring myself to say that.
Like Chelsea, we both agree that they're not worth the top four, but as a club they should be challenging for the title. With Palace, I think they should be mid-table as a team.
I think
As a
top.
club.
I think out of the trouble, but still in the bottom half. I think top end
That's
of the bottom
fair, but I
half.
think they'll be in a relegation battle for sure.
Yeah, I've put
because
them as one of my teams. That
They're going to
goes
struggle
down.
to score.
Yeah, I don't think Zaha's going to perform this. And actually, to be honest, I think I'm one of the few Palace fans that actually wanted the club to sell Zaha.
We get way too reliant on him. That's the thing. Here's the thing, though: we don't need to sell him, so the money's got to be tempting for us. And a quarter of what we get goes to United.
I think Parish was quoted as saying, "Wilf represents Premier League football for us because that's what could be at stake if we sell him. So if we sell him, we want what Premier League football is worth for us."
No, and that's fair.
Which is 80 million.
I think they've done well to get rid of Punjin. I think they've done well to get rid of Sola.
Yeah.
Um,
But then we've wasted money on bringing Sorloth in, which is disappointing.
yeah. But he's going to go to Trabzonspor like a god.
Yeah.
They welcomed him with open arms.
They did, there was flares and everything.
I mean, in the Turkish league, I imagine there's flares for
Flares
everything.
come out for anything.
Everything is literally like, I'm getting around it, and like, have a punch up.
We didn't stab someone this week.
Get the flares out. Then, okay, we're out of the C's into the E's, Everton.
I've put them as one of my best teams of the window.
They have, and I know I've touched on one of my transfers of the window. They have definitely one of my top transfers of the window.
One of their transfers for me knocked Wan-Bissaka off of the top side of the
Is this the
window.
one on top? Moise
Keane, yeah.
Has to be.
26 million for a player of that potential with no buyback fee is fantastic.
And when I've seen him, he had a couple of games for Juventus that I've seen where you're like, really? This is the guy they're pinning? But then there are other games where it's like, I can see what he's got.
Yeah.
But he has to deliver on that potential. Otherwise,
And actually, if you look at his stats, I was watching a video about players that are underrated, and he was one of the top ones.
And
if you actually look at his stats, he's brilliant in the box and his shot conversion rate is very good as well.
Here's an interesting one. So they're 26 million, but that's covered by Idris Gueye, who they got nearly 30 million for by selling to PSG. Which PSG were fucking idiots for spending 30 million
for a 29-year-old
on Idris Gueye. No, forget 29-year-old. It's Idris Gueye. He's an bang average player, in my opinion.
I would agree with you, but if you actually, again, statistically, he was one of the best.
PSG aren't fucking Billy Bean. This isn't Moneyball. You're not playing on statistics. I'm not paying 30 million for Idris Gueye.
I think you're underestimating how often clubs look into statistics and how
I'm not paying 30 million for Idris Gueye. I'm not. I'm kicking off if my club spends that money.
Well, a 29-year-old Idris Gueye, I agree with you, but a younger version, I would have paid that for him.
How do you feel about him getting rid of Lookman as well?
I think that's a real shame. But I'm pleased for him that he's gone to Germany, because that seems to be
Germany
the
are giving a lot of English or
youngsters in general.
A lot of young players from England opportunities to play.
Yeah, and he was loved there from his first season there when, was it Sam Allardyce was at Everton, am I right in thinking that? He loaned him out to RB Leipzig a couple of years ago, and he did really well.
The other good one getting rid of is Ashley Williams. I think he's been
massively overpaid for years and overhyped.
Well, I think when they bought him, he just wasn't the player that he was.
No. They bought a player that, if I remember correctly, he was 31 at the time.
Before I ask you the question though, I want you to answer me this. Before I ask you the two questions, I want your opinion on Delph. Good signing, bad signing?
Good signing.
I think for Everton is exactly the kind of club that Delph should be playing for, not City.
He's got fantastic work rate. He wouldn't have lasted as long as he did under Pep if he wasn't a good player and didn't have application. He's versatile, left back, centre mid, holding mid. He can do a variety of things, and they've also signed another good player, Gabamin, who's the replacement for Idrissa Gueye.
But Everton, where should they be?
Top half.
I think challenging for Europa League.
Yeah.
Not Europe.
I think they should be around 8th, 7th, 6th.
Not good Europe, but shit Europe.
I think they should be around the 8th, 7th.
Thursday nights, they should be setting up for matches against Karabag.
Yeah.
On the regular.
Ludogorets.
Yeah, those kind of matches should be a regular fixture at Goodison Park.
Yeah.
But where will they finish?
Mid-table.
Yeah, I'll go for that.
I've got to admit, I'm a part of the group that think Marco Silva is robbing a living as a manager. What clubs have seen in him, I have no idea. Yeah, all right, he plays some attractive attacking football now and again, but I'm sure the whole City fans would have rather stayed up playing Route 1 football than go down playing stylish.
Oh, God, yeah.
So I honestly don't know how he's managed to become Everton manager or to continue to be employed as a manager of any
Interesting. I don't mind myself. I'm really indifferent on him. Really.
I just think he's robbing a living, personally. But I mean, I hope for Everton's sake he proves me wrong.
Okay, no. I mean, yeah, sure. Then we skip a long way down the alphabet to the L's.
Yeah.
Leicester. Good transfer, but I'll say this. I know there's a transfer in there that's one of your worst transfers, one of your overrated
But they also have one of my best ones.
Yuri Tielemans.
Brilliant signing.
Even though he cost like 40 million.
40 mil.
The fact is, they've had him. You know, it's like the ideal
He was
thing.
one of the
They've had him for a year, and he was one of their best players, and he was one of the league's best players. I would even go as far as to say that I rate him that much.
100%. Everyone has said he was one of the best centre mids in the league last season.
And to get him for anything less than 50 million is an absolute steal. I don't care how much that says about me or whatever. But that's
and also playing for an attacking coach like.
Rodgers has done very similar to what Ranieri did when he won the league. Because he's come and he's like, these guys are doing fine. I don't need to do that much. I don't need to come in and completely reorganise them and reshape it.
I do think they need to find a long-term replacement for Vardy though, and I don't think they found that.
I think they also need to find a long-term replacement for because now that Maguire's gone.
Yeah.
Because they had, when they won the league, they obviously had Morgan and Huth, both very old, very aging. Then Maguire came in and it was like brilliant, great.
Their two top targets, which I think one has already been ruled out, is Tarkowski from Burnley and Lewis Dunk from Brighton.
Yeah, Tarkowski, both of those would have been fantastic.
Tarkowski, Burnley have said that they're going to want minimum 40 for him.
I'd have paid it. Personally, I'd have paid
and
it.
Apparently Brighton want a minimum of 40 for Dunk.
Not trying to pay it for Dunk, I'd have maybe paid 30 for Dunk.
Yeah, but is that a partly because he's a Brighton player?
There's something about the way that Tarkowski plays.
I wouldn't pay it for him because of the allegations made against him a few years back, but I won't go into that.
I don't know of those. Were they...
Along the same lines of Ched Evans.
Okay, no, right, forget it. I'll pay nothing for him.
Yeah. It was him and another Brighton player a few years back when they were in the Championship.
But very quickly, where should they finish? Where will they finish? Where should they finish for me? Again, they should be challenging for Europe.
Yeah, I would say around 10th.
And where will they finish? I think they'll be challenging for Europe.
Yeah.
I think they'll be in those 8th, 7th positions.
I think they'll be in the top 10.
We already know who you've said where they'll finish. Liverpool.
Second.
Where should they finish? Where should a club like that be challenging for the league? I think.
Which is what they will be doing.
Very, very quick. I would say they probably need a bit more in the way of midfield. I'm not sure Wijnaldum, and I think they're fine, but Wijnaldum and Keita and that, I'm not sure they're going to be the ones to win you the league.
No, but Oxlade-Chamberlain's coming back, so that would be sort of like
and it's great to see
Gomez back in the team.
Fit. But anyway, so that's very quick. Next one, also very quick, Manchester City. Where should they be challenging for the league? Where will they be challenging for the league?
Yeah.
No problems whatsoever. Shame about the loss of Company, who's gone back to Anderlecht to be a...
I think it's really disappointing.
Great for him, but from their point of view, I think he's a big player in the dressing room. I think that will be a loss. I don't think it will affect the league
also, he was
title, but it could.
He was there since what people forget, since before
he came in just
the
before
Derby money was there.
He did come in just before.
I think he came in under Thaksin Shinawatra.
The Thai Prime Minister that got arrested for
fraud,
illegal shit.
Yeah.
They've done great to get rid of to unload someone like Delph as well. No disrespect. Next one, very interesting one. I think we could spend time on it, but I don't want to get too caught up in it. Manchester United. Now, for me, the 3 players that they've signed, or they've been announced to sign in, I think are great signings. Wan-Bissaka, we know, and obviously as a Palace fan, I've been banging on. When he first came on in his first appearance, I said, that kid's going to be someone. That kid's going to be England number... And obviously, okay, he's not attacking enough, but it's like, that kid's going to be the top
but you can put that down to the fact he was playing for Palace.
Daniel James, great signing.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, is he quick. Boy, is he quick. And he's good on the ball as well. You know, it's quite often players are quick. That Traore at Middlesbrough, a couple of years ago. He's quick,
Yeah.
but he did fuck all once he had the ball.
Yeah.
You could let him go and he'd beat anyone, but it's like, yeah, okay, but I'll let
Can't
him in
cross it.
because what the fuck's he going to do once
Yeah.
he's got it?
Can't cross.
Daniel James is a little bit different, and Harry Maguire, I think, is the kind of player that, similar to what Virgil van Dijk at Liverpool, he's going to come in and he has the ability to fix those problems. Not all on his own,
Yeah.
but he does have a lot of that potential. And
But for me, they've overpaid for Maguire.
well, I think the other thing I was going to say is United got very lucky in Bailly, who's been ruled out for a few months, because it means they can't even play him by accident, and that's a big thing for United. But where should United finish?
Challenging for the title.
Agreed. Where will they finish?
I've put
you've
them.
got top four.
I've put them as top 4, but in truth, I think they're going to be around 5th.
Well, I'm going to say, true to everything that they've done since Ferguson left, they're going to be 6th place United.
Fair play.
But just quickly, Maguire overpaid.
I think 80 million is.
But in today's market,
No, I think even in today's market, I don't see how he's an £80 million player. He hasn't done enough in the game.
that's fair enough. Okay, next one I think going to be really difficult because I really like them, but it's going to be a bit sad. Newcastle United,
Mid-table,
where they should be.
yeah.
I think mid-table.
They should be a
every
top
now and then-
half team, actually.
Every
so
now and then
I'll
challenging for.
I think top half team is what they should be for a club of that size.
Yeah, every now and then going into Europe,
Yeah.
but not regularly.
Yeah.
I think that's what they should be. But I think
They're gonna finish
bit of
bottom
business
half.
getting 30 million for Perez. I like Perez, but 30 million. Good.
Well, they were actually devastated he left. That's the
Yeah, I
worrying
like
thing.
Perez, but I think Steve Bruce is a good manager.
Yeah, I don't think he's deserved the hate he's got. And actually, as we've said, we're probably the only people on the planet that defend Mike Ashley as an
but-
owner.
It is worrying to Newcastle.
Yeah.
I like Palace. I'm looking at that thinking we've established where they should be. I think they're going to be in a relegation battle. I think they'll come out of it comfortably in the end, but I think they're going to spend a lot of the season down there.
Possibly.
Okay, next up Norwich, newly promoted. I've got to say, I think they're going to.
Go down.
I think they should go down. I know that sounds really cruel.
I don't think they're good enough to stay up. And I don't think they're big enough to stay up with the quality
Sorry
that's
to
in the
Jake
league.
Humphreys and Stephen Fry
and Delia Smith.
Delia Smith.
Let's be having you.
Where are
And
they?
also, just looking at their transfers, there's nothing there that excites you. Like they haven't gone out
No,
and
but
got.
that could be a good thing. That could be that they've not gone out to try and blow them up. They're just filling little gaps.
Well,
here
they've
and
gone
there.
for average players from the Bundesliga, in my opinion, as well.
Yeah,
which is understandable with their manager.
Dermot, I think he's alright. I think
Yeah,
he's
average.
decent. I think no, you're right. I think he was good a couple of years ago.
He's average. That's not an insult, because to play at the top level as an average player is a difficult thing to achieve. So
Okay, so we've established that they should be in the Championship and they're going to end up back in the
Yes.
Championship. Okay, insulting, but why not? We've mugged off a lot. It's a theme that we have. We like to mug off
off, but
groups of people.
and I actually really like Norwich as a place. I've been there. It's a really nice
Would you
place.
inbred?
How dare you?
No, it's really harsh.
Yeah, it's really harsh.
Something came over me. I don't know what
Wow.
it was.
Swiftly moving on.
Alright, let's linger on it. Let's linger on incest.
I'd rather not.
Okay, Sheffield United.
Championship.
Do you think that's where they should be though?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think a club like that should be lower end of the Premier League.
No.
I think they should be in the Premier League.
I'd agree if it was Sheffield Wednesday. I don't agree with
I
Sheffield
think they should
United.
still be up there, but I think they're going to go down.
I think Sheffield Wednesday are a much bigger club.
I
than
think it's
Sheffield
nice for
United.
Jagielka to go back there and play another
Yeah, I
last
like
season
that.
in his
I like that.
in the Prem.
I actually put Sheffield United as one of my better window teams. I think they've signed some decent players.
Well,
And also one of their signings, Ravel Morrison.
yeah, I was going to say
Massive risk, but
could pay off.
But
I
could
was
pay
thinking
off.
that, I was like, it's either
it's
going
one
to
of
be
my players to watch.
one that comes in that goes, what the fucking hell are you doing?
It could be like an Adel Taarabt, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it could go either way.
Yeah.
It could go either way. Hopefully it doesn't go the way it's wrapped for
No.
Sheffield United's sake.
Yeah.
We're getting towards the back end now. Southampton, where should they be? I think mid-table.
Yeah,
Where will they be?
I think they'll hit top half.
I think they'll be lower.
I think Hassan Hootel's an incredible manager.
I think
and
he's a good coach.
And I think if he can get Che Adams going, he's a player to watch this season for me.
Sure.
I think if he can...
And they've got some good young players coming through, no doubt.
Yeah, but they have got an aging
They always
squad
have.
as well.
I think they'll be down there. I don't think they'll be in the battle, but I think they'll be just above.
See, I'm optimistic for them. I think they might hit top half, roughly.
No, fair enough. Tottenham.
I've put them as fourth.
Yeah, I'd go that. Where should they be though?
Fourth, I think European football. I don't think they're good enough to challenge for the title.
I don't think they are, and I think I'm with you. I think they'll be where they should be.
And I also think they've got a squad that's starting to age now. If you look at it,
it's interesting. Look at the players that have come in, and Ndombele could be good.
Jack Clark's a good signing for the future.
But then you look at the players going out. It's like, okay, so who's going to replace Trippier? Walker Peters,
yeah.
Is he good enough? I mean, I'd like to.
Trippier had one of his worst seasons in anyone's shirt last season, so he's done well to get
good. That was nice.
Go.
That was easy. We know where they're going to be where they should be. Watford, probably, arguably for me, the most inconsistent team in the league.
Yeah, they did have a decent season last season, though.
They've literally had, for me, over periods of like 8 games, they've had title contending form and definite relegation form, and it goes on and off between the two.
Yeah.
They're never just like.
I think Javi Grassi is quite a good coach.
They're like win 5 on the bounce, lose 5 on the bounce.
I think.
But they've got an aging squad as well, I would say.
I would say mid-table.
Where they should be. Where will they be?
Mid-table.
I think they could potentially be in a relegation battle if they're not careful.
I think with players like Deulofeu and
by the way,
and is it Pereira, the midfielder?
Yeah, Pereira.
He's brilliant. I think they've got too much to go down.
See, that's there's no one's got such thing as too much to go down.
I think nowadays they do.
Oh, I don't know, but okay, West Ham. For me, they've done well not to do a classic West Ham and just buy players that are old and past it. Haller could be a good signing. Haller.
No, he's one of my overpaid.
He's definitely overpaid, I've no doubt about that.
I don't think he's going to achieve at all. I think he's going to be another long line of strikers that have gone to West Ham and do nothing.
But they've got rid of a lot of players.
Yeah, they got rid of Andy Carroll and those sort of players.
Nasri, Adrian, Lucas Perez.
Why did they even sign Nasri? That made no sense.
It was an odd one. Where should West Ham be?
Top half.
Mid-table. Okay, top half.
I think they're a big club.
Mid-table. I think they are. I think they're a big club, and they've got a big history. Where will they finish?
Mid-table, bottom half.
I think they'll be just above the relegation battle.
I think they also signed one of the players to watch this season with Pablo Fornals.
Yeah.
I think he's a brilliant midfielder. I think he'll be really good for him.
Yeah, I think it's real 50-50 with West Ham, but I think they'll be just above the relegation zone.
Yeah.
And then finally, the last one I'm going to come to, Wolves.
I've put them as top half.
As where they should be or where they will be?
Both. They're one of my teams that have had the best windows.
I think they should be mid-table, but I think they will be challenging for Europe again.
No, I think if you look at, alright, fair enough, the size of the club maybe isn't as big as others, but if you look at what they've got as a club, just the whole package in terms of facility, the money they've got now.
I think making players like Jimenez permanent, brilliant.
I think they've added some really good young players and also signed permanently players that were important last season.
And you look at, and here's a really interesting thing.
Patrick Catrone, great signing.
For someone like Wolves, who were a surprise package last season, the big challenge is keeping their players, and actually they've done that. All the players that have gone out of the club are players where you'd be like, who? So if I said like Corney House or Ryan Gilks, you'd be like, Ryan Giles, or you'd be like, who the fucking hell are they? And that's the point. They've kept all
they've not lost any of their decent players.
No, all they do players.
And considering how many clubs were supposed to be after their centre mid, what's his name? The one that scored the wonder goal.
Oh, the one who takes the free kicks.
Yeah, Neves.
Yeah, Ruben Neves.
Yeah.
But I think they might be challenging for Europe. Shit Europe, but Europe.
I think they'll finish where they did last season, 7th.
Yeah, I think they might do as well. Okay, so that's my rundown.
Yep.
That's the team by team. Anything you wanna?
Let me. I'd like to quickly run through the players to watch for me this season.
Sure.
My first one is Ravel Morrison, as we just mentioned. I think he has the potential.
50-50 player.
I think he could shine at Sheffield United, but might not. Moise Kean signing of the window for me. He just edges it over Aaron Wan-Bissaka. He's my player to watch this season for United. I just think his tackling ability is phenomenal. I've put Che Adams at Southampton, Pablo Fornals at West Ham, Patrick Cutrone at Wolves, Ceballos, or Ceballos I believe it's pronounced, at Arsenal on loan.
Ceballos.
Yeah, and then I've put my overpaid players: Maguire for United, Wesley for Villa, Haller for West Ham, Perez for Leicester, Mings for Villa, Pepe for Arsenal, Ayew for Palace. And I've also put Joe Linton for Newcastle.
Yeah, I go for that.
My teams to watch this season: City, Liverpool, Southampton, Wolves, Chelsea. My best managers are Pep, Klopp, Poch, Hasenhüttl and Nuno at Wolves.
Yeah, I go for them.
And then I don't know, as we're both Palace fans, did you want to do a bit more on Palace before we finish up?
I've pretty much covered it, to be honest, in my opinion.
Well, I'll do my brief opinion on Palace because I haven't said much.
Don't forget that they're spending a lot of their money on the new stand.
Well, I will.
As long as you're getting...
I understand the frustrations of some of the fans, but I do feel criticism of Parish has been really unfair recently. And there's actually rumours as of yesterday that he might be stepping down.
Okay.
And selling his shares because he's a bit fed up of it all. I think it's been quite short-sighted and shown how short a memory fans can have considering the role he's played in recent years in the club. If it wasn't for him and the others...
I think just to offer a devil's advocate here, to play the role of devil's advocate, a lot of the fans are saying, yeah, that was great, thanks, but now we need to move forward, your time's done. Go.
And I
disagree.
I think that's what's happening.
I disagree, but that's what they'd say. So they're not saying that they've forgotten about it at all.
I think the club are moving forward though, in general. I listened to a podcast a little while ago where Parish was interviewed for a good 40-45 minutes and he talked a lot about the club. And I do agree with the fans that our approach over transfers is incredibly slow. But from what Parish has said, not only is there not a lot of money, but he wants to make sure players that are coming in actually want to be at Palace, aren't necessarily just using the club as a stepping stone, but they don't want to rush and waste money like the club has done previously, including under his management, but not go back to like the Simon Jordan days of wasting money on players that just are incredibly nowhere near good enough.
Sure.
And then also in terms of facilities, obviously the club is investing money in the stadium, but also he said that we're quite far behind even a lot of championship clubs in our facilities, including the stadium, the training grounds, general facilities. So the club is trying to find a balance between upgrading the club structurally whilst also trying to improve the team without wasting money.
Yeah, no, I get that.
And his actual words were, we're trying to find the sweet spot where we can overachieve for long enough to catch up with teams even in the championship who are above us in terms of facilities, whilst not blowing money the club doesn't have.
Okay.
And I do think the club will struggle this season. My personal opinion, I think we should have got rid of Roy Hodgson. I'd like a younger, more positive manager and approach. Someone like the manager I mentioned to people the other day was Lee Johnson from Bristol City.
Well, as long as they don't do what they did with De Boer, when it starts going wrong at the
you have
start,
to
if you're making
with
a big change, you've got to accept that it's going to be a big change.
Yeah. But I also understand why Hodgson makes sense to be at the club at the moment.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's me.
Okay. Well, I just want to go run through quickly with you, just to kind of close it out. We can't talk about the new season without talking about the new rules. So VAR. Good thing, bad thing. For me, it's a good thing as long as two things happen. One, it's not too time consuming. I know that's a bit much to ask, but two, on the big screens, because all these grounds have got big screens, show the replays. Show what the ref's seeing, so we can see why it's being. Because what's happening when you're watching it on telly, for me, is that there's such this big gap field where the fans have no idea what's happening. Till the ref blows a whistle, they don't know what's happening, and when he does, they don't know why it's happened.
What I would say about VAR, it's only a good thing, but I think people need to prepare themselves for the next 1 to 5 years for it to be a very slow progression of it being improved. I don't think you'll get them showing it on the big screen. I think as well as doing it on the big screen, you need to have a rugby style system with the ref being on mic so that the fans can hear what the ref is saying.
I agree with that, actually implemented anyway.
Yeah. But I think it's going to be a slow progression, so I think we're going to be discussing VAR for the next 5 years potentially.
True. But that human element, I always quite enjoyed that when you're watching Match of the Day or something, is discussing that. How's he not given that? That's definitely a penalty. That's never a penalty. So the other just work our way through the other rules. Handball, new rule being formed for those. I will explain it for those that don't know. New rule. They've cut out any interpretation by the ref. If it touches the hand, it's a handball.
Okay.
Whether it's deliberate, not deliberate, whether
How
it's
far away from the body does it have to be?
Not at all. If it touches it at all, it's a handball, and that's to try and take that away from the ref of interpreting where it was, where it wasn't. Then
Well,
I
think that's probably overall a good thing. There's far too often the argument with your mates down the pub of it wasn't intentional, it doesn't matter if your hand's that far away from the body, it's a handball. So if it takes that
for me,
away,
that's a good thing.
Yeah.
And players will adjust. Players will, they're already going out with hands behind their back, so they're already adjusting to it. The only time when they won't be given is if it is shot at them from close range.
Define close range though.
Well, quite, yeah, but I think it's like a 5 yard or something.
Because an argument could be made anywhere from a yard to 7 or 8 yards is close range.
Yeah, quite, but I mean that's where there is still a little interpretation, but...
That will be a problem.
Oh, undoubtedly, but that's fine. Substitutions, the players now have to leave at the nearest point of the field. None of that time wasting going across the pitch, shaking everyone's hand. They have to go off at the nearest touch line.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
I think that's the right way to do it. I don't know why they didn't do it before.
My only worry with that is potentially the level of abuse that could get levelled at players.
True, but they could have that anywhere anyway. Not to say it's right.
No, I think it opens up players to potentially more harm.
Possibly, but I think ultimately the rule is a good ruling.
It saves on time wasting, but
it's very frustrating as a fan when you're watching it and the opposition does that and you're like, what the f... Just get off the fucking pitch. It was when Mark Noble went and picked the bloke up and moved him off. It's like, that doesn't happen anymore. They're just going. Goal kicks, none of that. The players have to be outside the box anymore.
Yeah, they can be as close as they like.
Whenever the goalie kicks it, that's when it's in play. Players in the box, out of the box, doesn't matter.
Fucked playing against City.
And I think that's a good thing. Again, I think sometimes it's a bit frustrating when a player's like a yard into the box or something and they're like, and the ref's like, no, take it again.
What about opposition players?
Well, they're allowed in the box as well.
Interesting.
So they can intercept it if they want to. But I think there'll be a certain level of decency expressed where they won't be standing on top of the goal kick.
No,
but
fair enough. Potentially
again, there's lots of opportunities for it to go wrong. Yellow and reds. This is an interesting one. So now, where the ref, basically, if the ref hasn't started to draw his card, and the attacking team take a quick free kick that leads to a goal scoring opportunity, that is perfectly allowed, and the ref will draw his card when the ball goes out of play.
Okay.
I think there's lots of opportunities for it to go wrong, same as all these rules. I think that's a good rule.
Well, it's just going to mean that teams have to be far more switched on now.
Yeah, quite.
And I think you'll get a lot of teams that counter-attack that will take full advantage of that.
Oh, there's some teams out there, Palace included, to be honest, but Liverpool...
My only worry with some of these upgrade or changes to the rules is I think the level of refereeing at the top of the English game at the moment is the worst it's been for a while. And I don't trust the current crop of refs to properly implement all of this.
Yeah, the other little one is dropped balls. So now basically the dropped ball will be dropped to whichever team last touched the ball.
Okay.
So I guess even if it just hits them, they get it.
That's how it should be anyway.
Possibly.
I've never understood why they have to fight over it.
There's definitely, from now till October, there's going to be a lot of opportunities for it to go wrong and for arguments to break out.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people going to be arguing in pubs across the country over these new rules about, there's no way that was definitely too close range for it to be handball. Like, no, it's his hand, it's definitely handball, all that kind of shit. And being like, he had his card, he had his hand on his card in his pocket. He's like, yeah, but he hasn't drawn it. No, but
but how far does it have to be out of the pocket for that rule not to go?
Definitely, he's obviously going to get sent off. And, there's a lot of opportunity for it. But I like that. But, as always, guys, let us know what we got wrong.
Yeah, let us know where you think teams will finish, whether you disagree with the teams.
Who are your highlight transfers?
Yeah, who's your number one signing of the window, who's your worst, who's your favourite manager, who's your least favourite manager.
And what do you make of the new rules?
Yeah. What do you think of VAR?
Good, bad?
Keep the conversation going. Find us on Twitter @Swords Crossing.
Boom, nailing it.
On Facebook, Crossing Swords, and we also, get this, have a Google Gmail account. It is crossingswords19@gmail.com.
Yeah, we're also on YouTube.
We are
Crossing
indeed.
Swords on YouTube. Find us, comment there.
We're on Insta.
Crossing Swords _podcast.
Yeah.
Keep the conversation going. Let us know what we're wrong.
Like, share, subscribe,
Share it.
share.
If you
share.
If you like
share.
it and you don't share it, I'll come around your house and I will stop wanking you off.
For any of you that were upset about our decision in the Band of the Artist to put share through,
Which you all should be, for the record.
just copy a name and share. Share.
And share and like. No, seriously. Rate it. Subscribe to it. Share
Please
it.
leave us reviews. Please let us know what you're liking about the pod, disliking about
And hit
the
us
pod.
up on crossingswords19@gmail.com. Give us feedback. Let us know what we're doing well. Let us know what we're not doing well. Because we are genuinely.
Also, for those of you that
improving.
actually have our personal numbers, message us.
Yeah, or don't.
I'm happy for you to message me. Jake's unsociable.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we want to be giving out. We're celebrities now. We should probably change our numbers.
I was always a celebrity, bro. I'm used to it.
Wow, the ego in this room. I'm going to have to leave now, guys, because the room can no longer contain Big and his ego and me.
Yeah, mostly because Jake's fat.
That doesn't help.
Love you guys. Bye.
See you around.